Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by our Patreon supporters and CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, and our co-sponsor Cardhoarder.com, offering the best inventory, prices, and delivery of cards for Magic Online. I am Evan Reuben, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Erin Campbell.
Ahoy.
Reuben Bressler.
Hi, happy Yom Kippur.
Yeah.
to my fellow Jews out there. I hope you have a safe fast.
Speaking of holidays, it's also National Talk Like a Pirate Day. So
Indeed,
now is the day to get that booty. So
that's right. Do you know what a pirate's favorite letter is?
C.
Well, a pirate is always in love with the sea, but X marks the spot traditionally.
Wow.
And of course, there's the old favorite. Arr.
Yeah.
Well, we also get started with our trumpet blast. We don't got one this week, but if you support us at the highest level on our Patreon, you can get your message out here. If you want to have something about an event, maybe somebody's birthday, do a special call out, shout out, we can do that for you. And we've done it before. But we're going to kick it off with the first pick and the giveaway. The giveaway this week was this box of Creature Forge Overwhelming Force showed up, and I'm like, okay, let's give it away.
Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, Evan can't use it.
It's not my bag. It's not for me. That's okay. That just ain't my stuff. It's just not for me. That's all right.
Evan, it seems that you might be quiet.
Uh-oh. Am I super duper quiet? Because I can get louder. Just like
I don't know.
All right. Well, you guys let me know.
But anyway, I mean, if they sent me that box, you can be damn sure that I wouldn't have given it away. But they sent the box to Evan, so you guys are lucky.
Right. You guys got super lucky when it comes to who actually received the box of stuff.
Yeah.
It's fine. Well, it's out now. You can get the singles right now on CoolStuffInc.com, selling it by the pack, by the booster feed. We'll give one of those away at the end of the show. Thanks much for WizKids for sending me a box. I hope you wanted me to give it away because that's what I'm doing with it. We didn't pay anything for it. Sometimes that matters to explain. Anyway, so the first pick this week is that Guilds of Ravnica is 100% here. We have a complete spoiler. It's not spoilered anymore. It's just the set. We have the whole set.
It's just the set now.
Yeah. So we got to see what they were working on to return to Ravnica, and I think it's pretty good. It's really good.
Yeah, set looks really good. Looks like a ton of fun, and it lives up to the Ravnica hype, I think.
I mean, I feel like they started it off with the best card in the set, Assassin's Trophy. Awesome. They ended it with a really weird mythic, the blue-black, reverse Yogg-Will thing, which is super cool and interesting and strange. And it's, we didn't on a 013, tree in your $12 pack or whatever. We did some decent stuff. And the cards there at the end. And I'll talk about some of them here now, but, and we each chose 3 cards. The cards are at the end. I think they really kind of just leaned into Boros. They were just like, oh, and here's all the sick aggro stuff that we haven't showed you yet. Because it all just culminated today into the pre-release on a Wednesday, because Worlds is this weekend, and they had to show you the set before Worlds because they're doing that team Guilds of Ravnica thing with
Well, we don't know what they're doing since they're not advertising Worlds.
I don't know.
Wow. That's some shade.
I mean, where is like the hype videos, right? Like, where are little tiny hype videos for every single one of those players? Like, where's the build up? Where's the come here and check this out, and this is what we're doing. It's gonna be really clear. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, their conspicuous silence on the advertising of Worlds does not bode well, in my opinion, for the future of the event.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that, again, they're drafting Dominaria. They're not drafting M19, which is fine because Dominaria is about a limited set. But again, just imagine if they were drafting Guilds of Ravnica. Yeah, they don't have practice with it. Well, maybe that's because they're the best in the world, and you should see how they react on their toes and see what happens.
I love that.
That would be amazing to me. Like, that to me would be truly exciting. But instead, they call back to 2 sets ago, which, again, the set was great. But that's the world we're living in. That what you want to push and promote to all the people who are watching to play this set from earlier this year in April. I mean, it's a thing, but
it's a little strange.
It's a little strange, but we want to talk about Guilds of Ravnica. Definitely want to bring up some cards. We've chosen 3 each to talk about. Bring my cards on the screen now. First up is Tajic, Legion's Edge. It's a red, a white, and generic mana for a 3/2 legendary human soldier. It is rare. It has haste. It also has Mentor, which means whenever this creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature with lesser power. Prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to other creatures you control. Therefore, when they Pyroclasm, everything else doesn't take damage. All your other creatures don't take damage. Only Tajic does.
Yep.
And lastly, because it needed one more ability, you can pay a red and a white to give it first strike until end of turn.
Yeah.
This card is just straight bananas every which way but Sunday. It's insane. Nice Chain Whirler. It does nothing to my team. I take one.
Yeah, this card is really scary. Even though one of the lines of text isn't really that relevant, that first strike there at the end, 3/4 of it is completely bananas. People are already talking about this card for modern humans as well.
Oh yeah, I mean it also had to be a human, right? And it'd be like, nice Anger of the Gods. I
had to laugh at I was laughing at Cube April the other day because when this card was spoiled, somebody on Twitter, Cube April said something effective like, wow, it's something about because the mana, because the human
mana is so hard in humans,
right? Because people were like, but it's a red card, and they don't really. Oh, never mind.
It doesn't matter. It never mattered. Ether Vial, the sick,
the Rainbow Land,
Unclaimed Territory,
Cavern of Souls, like whatever. It just
put it in.
Colors don't really matter in the human deck. I think it's gotten to a point where Wizards is going to take a really close look at what gets to be a human versus like maybe this should be a druid instead of a human whatever, It's tough,
man. I mean, human is by far and away the most populated creature type. There's over 2,000 humans, and in second place I think is warriors, which are around 700 or 800.
Right.
The mana base in that humans deck is shakier than bingo night at a retirement home. It is amazing that the deck is
wow. That was my favorite simile I've ever heard.
Jeez. All right. Well, either way, Tajic Legion's Edge, I think, is very much pushed. I think it's absolutely going to see play. If you look at the red and white cards that they gave us, I feel like they've more or less built you the Boros aggro deck. Like they've given you, here's your 1-drop, here's your 2-drop, here's your 3-drop, here's your Aurelia at 4, which is insane. And the second card I want to talk about, if on a curve here, if you're curving from Leon and Warleader, which is an M19 card, which is a 4-mana 4/4 that makes 2/1/1 cats with lifelink that are attacking when it attacks. Well, if you have Divine Visitation out, those cats are going to be angels, 4/4 angels. They won't have lifelink, and I'll get to that in a second. Divine Visitation is 2 white, 3 generic mana for a mythic enchantment. If one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, that many 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance are created instead. I love it. And there's a weird thing that happens with the ability words. So Goblin Rabblemaster, for example, creates the token and then gives it haste, right? Well, the token is granted haste. The token doesn't have haste. So if you're attacking and you are replacing that with a 4/4 angel, it's still going to be attacking. But the angels aren't going to get the lifelink from Leon and Warleader because it didn't make them with lifelink. It made them attacking. It's a weird little corner case, but it's going to matter when you try to play around with this card and see what you can do with it. And and it is one of the hottest mythics of the set. Like it's been selling big time. It's a huge casual card, that's for sure. In addition to the fact that it might be the next Anointed Procession. Those naysayers against Anointed Procession originally looked at the card and were like, I don't know if we can make this work, but then ended up figuring it out. If this can do that, then it'll take off like gangbusters, much less the fact that it's already a hit amongst the casual community. For sure. So the sales of Ravnica, and I'll talk about this briefly. The sales of Guilds of Ravnica are really interesting. It's not doing as well as Dominaria, for example, which I thought was strange. However, I also want to point out a few things. I think the Buy a Box promo has really changed the paradigm in terms of how people pre-order product. If you're going to pre-order a box, they've really trained you and gotten you to the idea, well, if you're going to buy a box, you should just go to your local game store and get the promo instead of buying it online, and therefore those numbers can be smaller. Also, at this point, all of the stores are like all in. Like these stores that used to get, 10 boxes or whatever a release, they're getting like the full 60 or whatever they'll give them in terms of the Buy a Box promo because those things sell. And that provides, guaranteed capital. And again, that also spreads the dollars out amongst local game stores versus all being online. So, in the giant, the large .com seller world, maybe a little bit, down, but that also could mean all the friendly local game stores are up, and that's a good thing. So the singles are still doing great, and I've seen Assassin's Trophy.
Do we know if is there a buy box promo for this set?
Oh yeah, it's that 1616, the largest creature ever made.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
It's just a worm or whatever, and that's cool. But I thought that was interesting. I like to give people sort of that side of the, how's it doing sort of financially, because people never like to talk numbers, and I'm not giving you exact numbers, but I'm just telling you, relation context wise, it's a little bit down, but I think there's good reasons for that, and reasons that don't mean Magic's in trouble or whatever. It's like, okay, we just kind of move dollars around a little bit.
Yeah.
Last card I want to talk about is really interesting, called Risk Factor, and it's one of the first punishing cards since Demanding Dragon. I think they've been getting a lot better at making punishing cards, because Risk Factor is a red and 2 generic mana for a rare instant. Target opponent may have Risk Factor deal 4 damage to them. And if they don't, you draw 3 cards. And it has the magical term of Jumpstart. You may cast this card from your graveyard by discarding a card in addition to paying its other costs, and then you exile it. The ability to say, you want to take 4? And then they go, no, I'll take 4, it's fine, whatever. And then you go, okay, well now whatever I draw, it does not matter what comes off the top of my deck, I'm going to give you that question again. And then if I have 2 copies of this card and you say you take 8, well, okay, you want to take 4 more? Like, we can keep playing this game before you let the red deck draw more cards, which is always very, very dangerous. So this is a punishing card that actually excites me. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. This is an actual choice, and not just like, duh, you just do blah. It's not book burning. You're just like, no, let's keep going.
Right. Yeah. This is an exciting one. It's Browbeat once again, and Browbeat was like medium playable. It was like the only Punisher card that people thought about playing, and this is much more exciting than that, because you can turn a land into a pseudo Browbeat, and it's instant speed.
Oh yeah, Browbeat was an uncommon sorcery from Judgment that says any player may have them deal 5 damage to him or her, and if no one does, target player draws 3 cards. So the idea that you're paying 3 mana to get 3 cards in red is cool, but now you're doing it instant speed, and now you can do it twice. Deal 1 less damage, but I will take that trade every single time. So those are my 3 cards. Obviously, I will have so much more to say next week on my birthday when we film the complete set review.
Aww.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that you get to do the set review on your birthday. I apologize that you have to spend your birthday with us.
Wow. I mean, I'm excited. It's going to be like 16 hours of nonstop magic and goodness.
Yep.
The Airbnb is set. We got plane tickets purchased and ready to go. Like, we're talking about the filming plan, about how we're going to set up the cards and stuff. Like,
I've been talking on Saturday.
Been talking to some special guests. I'm going to see if I can squeeze in a few more. To those who did buy in at the level where you're going to provide your own special guest, I'll get those emails out as well.
Oh, I gotta figure out the potatoes, don't I?
You got to write some tater jokes, because those got to come out.
Yeah,
so it's all really exciting. However, keep moving here. Reuben, tell us about your 3 cards and why you picked them.
So I wanted to pick a couple of cards that I personally am excited to play, particularly in Standard. I didn't want to pick too many things that venture too far out, although my 3rd card is going to be a hit in Modern. I want to start out with what I think might be the actual best card for Standard in the set. It's certainly going to be top 5. But historically, Civic Wayfinder has always been a good enough card to make it in Standard, and District Guide is a better Civic Wayfinder. District Guide is a 2 colorless and a green 2/2 that when it enters the battlefield, you can search your library for a basic land or a gate and put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. This card is always good enough for Standard, often as a 4 of. Civic Wayfinder has seen play in a myriad of decks, from green-black elves back in the day. It was a hit in the original Ravnica. It's just always a good card, and District Guide is going to be no different.
Wow. I mean, that card, this to me is the most, it's the most Mike Flores card, because no one loved a Civic Wayfinder like Mike Flores loved a Civic Wayfinder.
Right.
This card to me is absolutely terrific. I can certainly see Sandra play, and it's going to be a limited all-star, because Reuben, you're mono gate deck.
And you can guarantee that I'm going to be all gates and lockets.
Nice.
Stop, lock, and drop it's all the time.
All right.
My next card is Venerated Loxodon. We very nearly talked about this card last week on the show, because I wanted to talk about it so much. But you know what? We're here now. Mm-hmm. It's the best payoff for the Convoke deck. It looks like in the set, one of the best, if not the best.
Sure.
It's a 4 colorless and a white 4/4 Elephant Cleric with Convoke, and when it enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on each creature that convoked it.
That's cool.
Convoked as that's an interesting verbization, which I really enjoy. Anyway, it protects your creatures from Goblin Chain Whirler. It lets you go 1-drop, 2-drop Venerated Loxodon to pump up your team on turn 3, much less when it's a free card and pumps up your entire team. This card is just really, really good.
So we went from pop lock and drop it to pop locks and drop it?
Pop Loxodon it.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, that card in and of itself is a card that there's that huge mythic spell that you can use Convoke to make all these tokens. You got to be able to do something with them. Goblin Chain Whirler is still a card that exists. There's also that black card that gives -1/-1 to all your opponent's creatures. Part of the horse cycle.
Plague Mare,
yeah, Plague Mare. That's a real thing. But the ability to just be like, yeah, they're all much bigger, and I powered out this 4/4 on turn 3. That feels good. Okay with that.
Yeah, I really think that this card's going to see a lot of play. I'm looking forward to playing a lot of it personally.
But this Gobbo, you say?
This Goblin Cratermaker, man, kind of came out of nowhere in the middle of last week, and everyone was so excited about Assassin's Trophy against Tron, and turns out this is the anti-Tron set, because Cratermaker makes a crater right in the middle of Karn or Ugin or Oblivion Stone, much less things like Paradox Engine or Gilded Lotus. So Goblin Cratermaker is a 2/2 for 2. That you can sack it. If you pay a mana and sack it, you can either shock a creature or destroy a Karn, which seems a little excessive. But hey, that's what you get for your 3 mana. It's a full mana less than playing a Trash Master and sacrificing a token, which is a big deal against Tron, which is, as you know, a turn 3 kind of deck. This is just a really interesting design, and another of the anti-Tron cards.
Well, you have the ability to blow up Ugin, blow up Karn, blow up any of the Eldrazi that are just being ridiculous. The second ability on this card was just like, what? Really?
Yeah.
Okay, sure, whatever. I mean,
I love seeing all of the memes of like, you had Emrakul on the left and like who wins, like one tentacle, monstrosity or a blow up or a Gobbo boy or something. And the memes came out pretty quick after that.
Almost as good of the memes as there was a 3-drop 3/3 in Return to Ravnica that sacrificed to counter a spell that had X in its cost. And those memes were great of like, Oh
no, it was one that I mean that white creature, right? It was the
There was a white creature that sacrificed, and it was just like Sphinx's Revelation. Tell my wife and kids I love them. and my addition to that was Syncopate. I don't think so. Syncopate.
That's right. Frontline Medic.
Oh, Frontline Medic. Yeah, that's the one.
Frontline Medic made them pay a mana leak for their X spell. They counted it unless they paid 3. So that was a real thing. Yeah,
but the one Gobbo boy memes are also quite good.
So Erin, you're telling me that you found cards that you want to talk about in this
set? It was difficult, but I powered.
I'm so proud of you, Pookie.
So the first card that I'm excited about is probably the one I'm most excited about, and it's an uncommon, of course. It's so funny because people were losing their minds over these mythics and these rares, and I was like, can I get some discard enablers, please? Like, this graveyard isn't going to fill itself. Come on.
Right.
But when you do manage to fill your graveyard, or on the way to filling your graveyard, you're probably going to hit something called Creeping Chill. So Creeping Chill is 3 colorless and a black. It's a sorcery. It deals 3 damage to each opponent, and you gain 3 life. And when it's put into your graveyard from your library, you may exile it. If you do, Creeping Chill deals 3 damage to each opponent, and you gain 3 life. So if you're surveilling, if you're dredging, it's basically a burn spell for dredge. Specifically in modern, our burn matchup has never been good. We have Knot of the Bone, we have Collective Brutality, but you have to set up for that kind of thing. You're just doing what you're doing. So just dredging naturally, whoop, there's 3, gain 3 life. Do it again, whoop! Or being able to live the dream, doing a dredge 5 and hitting 2 of these is hilarious. Legacy Dredge is not too interested in this. There's been some talk in Vintage Dredge as well, with all the transformational sideboards that we have. But this is probably the most exciting card for me personally in the set. And I never thought I would be excited about a burn spell, but here I am.
I mean, what do you cut, right? Isn't that the problem? Like, what do you get rid of
it's
for
not
this?
So much about cutting. There's more of a talk of just rebuilding. Like, it's more like this is the thing that we would want to build around. And so I've seen, some of the modern brewers working hard on it in the Dredge Discord, and I'm really excited to try.
Things like Noxious Revival to be able to rebuy them.
Oh, that's possible, yeah. But this is the card that really got, people like me talking of like, there's something here. And, it's important to note that it's not a cast, so it can't be countered, and it can be done through Grafdigger's Cage. So it's just, there's just hilarious possibilities there.
Very nice. And so what else you got for us?
So the second card I'm really excited about is Lotleth Giant. This is a callback to Lotleth Troll from the original, from Return to Ravnica block. 6 colorless and a black. It's a creature zombie giant with undergrowth. 6/5. When Lotleth Giant enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to target opponent for each creature card in your graveyard. It doesn't look like it's going to be difficult to fill your graveyard. And this kind of gives you like a Gray Merchant effect almost of, when it hits the battlefield, if you have a nice full yard, there's a burn spell to your face. And so there's been some talk in Legacy specifically about whether or not this is worthy to Dread Return. We like to win with like Flayer of the Hatebound, or we like to win with Flamekin Zealot. But if you don't even need to attack, you just sort of bring it back, and it's not hard to get 17 creatures in your graveyard. So just dome you for 17 sounds good. And so
how many creatures are typically in the deck?
Oh God, offhand, at least 15. Okay. So it's not too bad. But again, it's not something that you'd necessarily cut cards for, but it may be something you might want to change the way you build.
Right.
And so I'm really excited about this card. I love the flavor text. It's very me of, I prefer the big and looming to the small and skittering. It's like, yes, you want a big, obnoxious win condition. That's really awesome.
Nice.
Well, someone noted in the chat here that if you do mill the Creeping Chill, you won't be able to Noxious Revival because it exiles itself.
That's too bad. That's what I get for not reading the card.
So Erin, what in the world is up with this Etrata the Silencer? You got to tell me.
She's everything. Put some spec on that name. She's everything. So Etrata the Silencer is my third card that I'm really excited about. She's 2 colorless, a blue and a black, legendary creature, vampire assassin. Kind of the callback to Mirko Vosk from Return to Ravnica block. She's 3/5. Etrata the Silencer can't be blocked, which is great. And then whenever she deals combat damage to a player, you exile a creature that player controls and put a hit counter on that card. That player loses the game if they own 3 or more exile cards with hit counters on them. Etrata's owner shuffles Etrata into her library. So if I understand it correctly, and Pharmacist judges in the chat, you exile the creature, then she gets shuffled to the library.
Yeah.
It correctly, and then if God forbid you find her again, it's whoop, do it again, and eventually if you get 3 creatures, you lose the game. I'm particularly excited about this card in EDH. Not only is it sweet, but shout out to my friend Olivia, who got the chance to be on game nights and helped them debut this card, and I'm under the impression they're going to bring her back for another show, so she's an amazing cosplayer. You should go follow her if you're not already. But yeah, the card looks amazing. I love the artwork. Bastion Daharme got this one. Big fan of his, and it's just so weird, and I love that sort of weird win condition of I just got to exile 3 of your things. Challenge accepted. Right,
and if they don't have anything in play, then Etrata just stays in play because there's no target. So the ability.
Yeah, commander, it goes back to your command zone, so you can just like get her back and then do it.
Nice.
Oh, I love it.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And anything with hit counters. Hit counters are super cool. Mm-hmm. I don't care. Just they're hit counters, and that's neat. And she put a hit out on you. That's just so cool.
I'm hoping that maybe cool stuff or someone else comes out with nice brass targets to be able to put on hit counters.
If she were to take off as a well-played commander, I can absolutely make something like that happen. So
yeah.
We shall see.
But yeah, 4 mana, 3/5 can't be blocked. That's like good enough as it is. And then you put a staple of weird alternate win condition on it, and you got the makings of a fun
Some
card.
people in the chat were talking about Helm of the Host, where it's like,
nice.
You don't want to deal with the shuffling part. Just make multiples of her that can't be blocked, and you'll get your 3 hit counters pretty quickly.
Wow.
Love it.
Yeah, you can have 2 in 1 turn, essentially. Like, oh, you already have one? And kill you. That's amazing. All right, so we're going to move on here to Desperate Ravings. There's lots of other things, Gather the Townsfolk, lots of other things to talk about, including how we now have Danny Trejo talking about Gigantosaur.
That's I
am so excited. I am so, as Erin would say, here for Danny Trejo.
Oh, man, for Machete himself to show up talking about Magic cards with Day 9 in this trailer.
It was so good. It was
How
perfect.
random is that?
It was perfect.
It was super good. I really enjoyed it. So they did a great job there, so congratulations. Also, I would like to note that, yes, we're talking about 2 different things, but I feel like you're already seeing the cracks show between Magic Online's over here and Magic Arena gets Danny Trejo. You know what I mean? Right. It's like, well, we've got these new counter thing graphics, and it's just like, yeah, well, we've got this awesome sick thing and all these cool events, and now stuff's gonna be in packs.
This Hollywood trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Streamlabs, just recently rolled out a new series of layouts and emotes for Arena players. Something we're going to talk about very soon. They're doing a lot more in terms of reaching out to new streamers. I'm seeing a lot more just sort of interaction there in terms of supporting new streamers and promoting them and all of that. And so, yeah, they're really rolling out the red carpet for Arena in ways that they never did with Magic Online.
Yeah. I had a good conversation about this on the Masters of Modern podcast with Ben Bateman earlier in the week, where we were talking about the great divide that's happening between Arena and Magic Online, and when does Magic Online just sort of get at sunset, as it were? And I think it's going to be a while. People still want to play Cube. People still want to play Modern, much less. That's probably the most popular constructed format right now. And that you can't do that on Arena just yet. So it'll be interesting how they implement all of those other formats on Arena going forward. But you're right. You can see the writing on the wall.
I just feel like it's getting really clear. And look, I'm not trying to doom or gloom, and we love our sponsor Cardhoarder. I'm just telling you that we're coming to the head. It's gonna come to a head at some point, and I don't know what's gonna happen. But we'll see.
It's not Cardhoarder's fault.
No, absolutely not. But they absolutely announced a huge ton of changes. We're going to open beta, no more closed beta, no more like actually looking for a key. Seriously, you can find a key in like 4 seconds if you really wanted one. But
nowadays you can.
Nowadays you just download it and play. It's fine. It's whatever.
It's not like trying to get it. Trying to sneak down and be like, hey, you got any more of them keys, bro?
Hey, bro.
Like those people who are at PAX looking for artifact keys, just like scratching their neck. You got those keys?
Got some of the keys. Well, look, on September 21st, purchases are going to be turned off in the store. On my birthday, next Monday, on the 24th, the servers are going to go offline until the 26th for the 300 streamers who are going to be doing it sort of a preview. And then for the next day, on the 27th, it's all going to be coming back online and everybody can play if they want to. I'm going to get probably an embarrassing amount of gems back, because you get all your gems back that you've purchased, and I've bought a few gems because I've just been drafting kind of nonstop on that program for weeks now.
You're going to get an embarrassing number of... What's an embarrassing number of gems?
I don't know. Probably something over 300 is my guess.
Okay. I honestly don't know what that means, because I don't know what a gem is worth.
I don't either. I don't even know what a gem is. So
it's totally fine. Either way, and I may be doing the totals wrong, but
sure.
Regardless, they're going to... Interestingly, also, they're going to... let's see, for the closed beta, we're going to have the any purchased gems you have are going to be reimbursed in gems. Any welcome bundles you bought are going to be reimbursed. And if you participated in the Dominaria thing from New Zealand, you're good there too. But no one, probably more than likely, no one who did that is listening to this podcast. I understand that. Okay.
Rude.
Guilds, I know, right? And if they are, you guys
New
rule.
Zealand, I see you.
And we love you. But there's going to be sealed in Magic Arena for the first time ever. There has never been sealed in Magic Arena. There's only been draft. Now there's going to be sealed events where you get 6 packs to open and build a deck, just like at the pre-release, and you're going to there's going to have a new board layout, so you can play in the Guilds of Ravnica board layout, which is really cool. And oh my god, they did redeemable codes. Can you guys believe it? It only took us like 15 years, but we got there a little bit. Pre-release packs are going to have a code that redeems for 1 sealed event entry on Magic Arena. That's brilliant. Limit one per account, and that's totally okay, but still, that's freaking brilliant. All right, Planeswalker decks are going to have a redeemable code that unlocks that same deck in MTG Arena. All right, this is great. We're good. Here we go. Booster packs. Some Guilds of Ravnica booster packs may contain a code that will unlock 3 Guilds of Ravnica boosters on MTG Arena. Whoa. Only 1 in 8, but it's a non-unique code, and based on what Twitter is telling me, it's Play Ravnica. That if you put in Play Ravnica in the code thing, you'll get 3 packs of Guilds of Ravnica once they come back up for the open beta. And I kind of sort of threw the shade on it, if you will, per Erin today, on this idea that they didn't do unique codes for the booster packs.
Right.
And I want to kind of walk some of that back. I want to kind of own some of that up. It's like, you know what? I think I might have been a little too hasty there. This is a very large project. It's taken a lot of time. They're trying to stick the landing. So maybe doing something that's non-unique, a little bit more overt. Yes, you can get it. You don't need to buy packs or whatever to get the code. You can just have the code. Maybe that's just a way to kind of get ramped up. Maybe we'll have the booster packs be redeemable in MTG Arena for the next set, for Ravnica Legions, or for whatever the third set happens to be. I feel like maybe I was a little too hasty in coming down on them for that, because, Wizards is trying, I think, to do their best here, and I know they are. I mean, I've talked to them behind the scenes. Like, they're working hard at this. So being able to just say, like, you know what, we're going to have a code. It's going to be safe. It's going to be fine. However, if that code were redeemable as a unique, booster pack, this code gives you one booster pack or whatever. At that point, it becomes an item worth money. Something in the pack that is now worth money that wasn't in there before that you can now buy, sell, and trade and whatever. Because you can go to coolstuffinc.com and we will sell you codes for Pokemon Online that you can buy all day. And those codes haven't been redeemed, and we send them to you, and you can put them in the program, and they work great. So I want Wizards to get there, but I do feel like maybe I was a little bit hasty on coming down on the non-unique code thing, and we'll just kind of just ease into it.
I mean, you're allowed to, this is what we do on this show, is that, from every cloud a little rain must fall. I'm happy for you to accuse them of not doing everything perfectly. On the it helps balance out the good, great amazingness that was the Danny Trejo and Sean Plott casting.
Yeah, it helps sort of teeter that totter, if you will.
Yeah. I like that. That's also good.
Nice.
I see what you saw with Seesaw.
Wow.
Hey.
Wow. Well, again, I want you to look at the Arena page, and I'm gonna link it here in the chat, okay? And then I want you to go over here, and I want you to check out the Magic Online one. And again, I love me some Allie Medwin. She's a great friend I've had for years and years and years. And she tries really hard, but I'm just like, damn, you are so overshadowed, and I just feel kind of bad about it. I mean, you go down there and you look at those unique promos and stuff; those are pretty cool. I mean,
that one is offensive.
Which ones? Oh yeah.
Which one, Erin?
Oh, which one could it be?
So they decided that they were going to do some alternate art promos, and one of them is Grafdiggers. And if that wasn't bad enough, it actually shows the zombie being trapped in the cage. Like, that's just rude. Like,
rude. That is uncouth, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. How dare you?
Clutch, yeah.
But yeah, they're all really, really cool new art with the new, I think it's new Ash Baron's art, right?
Right. And I'm going to go down here.
Chalice of the Void.
That Chalice of the Void is spectacular.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is terrific. And, of course, I have to scroll by a million things. You have your prestige avatars and whatnot.
I love this hostage taker. Holding a Velociraptor hostage is, I think, my new favorite thing.
That is insane. It almost looks like a Foglio-like painting. It's
almost, yeah.
It strikes me as very cartoonish, almost, in many ways. And again, no shade to Wayne Reynolds. He's amazing. It just, that's kind of vibe I'm getting. But no doubt about it.
That's a good vibe. I like it. I like the callback to the cartoony. If you have pirates, like let's lean into it with our Talk Like a Pirate Day today. If you're gonna be a hostage taker,
you're gonna
and this hostage taker has the non-errated text in the text box.
Nice. Reuben, you've been a little tatery this time. You sure you're on wired connections and stuff?
Taters.
Just throwing out the tates.
More tater.
More tatars.
You're on the SS Tater.
There you go.
Let me make sure that I'm connected correctly.
All right. Remember to turn off your Wi-Fi. All right.
Yes, of course.
So again, that to me is just like, this is the first time where we've really seen sets coming out on Magic Arena, sets coming out on Magic Online. What happens? They announced on the same day, and they're both trying to get you excited about playing with it, just on totally different totally different platforms. And one is being pushed with all these marketing dollars and all this pizzazz and new set inclusion, and one is just like, well, if you want to play it, it's there. Like, okay, that's fine too.
Yeah, I mean, the for me as someone who's a lifer, the promos are more exciting to me than like, oh, look at these solutions to when you get the 5th copy of a thing.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, that's exciting to me, but that's not the mass populi.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, so I'm trying to read up here on, have you guys read up on the MTG fundraiser, The Chalice, presented by Card Kingdom?
A little bit.
Okay.
We have at least one of our regular visitors here. H2O Happy Dude is one of the featured streamers in said competition.
No, that's two different things. The Chalice is a game show with the professor, I believe, Strix. The Magic streamer thing is the one that Happy Dude's participating in.
No,
I thought that was the Chalice.
No, what I'm saying, look here, here's the link.
The Chalice is an in-person event in Seattle.
Oh.
Yes, the Chalice is the in-person event in Seattle.
I misunderstood. Okay.
If I know anything about charity things with Magic, this means that all the people going are going to get like 10 grand each, and they'll they'll open an old pack, and maybe they'll give away those cards, and maybe some of it will get to kids
play
or something.
Magic is the thing,
right? maybe 12.5K if they're lucky. That's how these charity things work. You get the sick payday, and then whatever's left goes to whoever. Okay.
So this is this is quite the murderer's row of Magic the Gathering personalities. A lot of folks who live in the Seattle area too, which makes sense.
Very nice.
Plenty of our buddies: Kenji, Numat the Nummy, Ashley Kwai, the Professor, Michelle Rapp of the Lorgoys podcast, Ashlyn Rose, Jerry Thompson, James of Loading Ready Run, and CVM are the competitors.
Nice. Well, they are pleased to mention a new event to their roster, the Chalice. They are doing it in the inaugural event this year. I got through that.
Say it like a pirate. You have to say it like a pirate whenever you mess up.
Inaugural. That sounded weird. All right. Either way, congratulations, Card Kingdom, on making a really cool event. To all those playing, obviously, go kick butt, take names. Chris Mooney was one of the finalists from the Great Designer Search 3. And just so happened to reply...
I don't know why I find that funny, Moon. There's also a guy named Brad Bowen.
We have Chris Cox in a while.
There's also a guy who's been playing at, I think he's been playing at Open. I think he did well in an Open or a GP recently, but his name is Brad Bowen. I'm sorry, I can't.
Ladies and gentlemen. All right, so either way, Mr. Mooney, who does the moons... Wow. Butts. All right, so Mr. Mooney, who replied to something on Reddit and just so happened to put hashtag WotC staff, and they were like, yo, does that mean you got a job? And he's like, yep, a 6-month contract as a game designer.
Good on him.
Yeah, so congratulations. Wizards has done this before where they've taken the people who have applied, the people who they've literally flown out and talked to. They often give more than one, there's only going to be one winner, but often they provide, contracts to others as well. So I hope that works out, and congratulations to him. Mm-hmm. All right. Somebody tell me about this Cardhoarder Coaching thing.
I would be happy to. So Tiago Rodriguez was the manager for Cardhoarder Brazil. He still might be, I'm not too sure. But he had tweeted that Cardhoarder was starting this new initiative where they're basically offering people almost like a mentorship opportunity to spend time with a stable of seasoned pros, one of them being Willie Edel, and to really learn from them and really hopping on board this trend of coaching that we've seen. Emma Handy coaches people one-on-one. Jim Davis offers those services too. PB famously started his series of classes to sort of help people. And, Cardhoarder has always been on board with wanting to make a positive impact in the community and really wanting to support people on the come up. I'm for them. And, I remember my boss used to say, we had a team at the time of pro Magic players. And I remember him saying, I could grab a team of 6 gold players and call it a day, but I would rather have people who, are growing and nurturing, and we really want to be there for that sort of journey. And so it wasn't a big surprise to me to see them kind of moving into this coaching mentorship angle. And, Bernardo Santos is another member of Cardhoarder Brazil who's going to be involved with this. Dagan from Haruri, I believe he was affiliated with Haruri at one point, a great on board. So they have a great they're going to be offering loan accounts as well to help you practice on Magic Online. And so this is a really great, unique endeavor that is very popular right now. You're seeing this audience that they want something more personal than reading a pro's articles or watching their streams. They really want to learn directly from them. And so this is a great way to kind of get on that wagon. And I hope it works out.
It sounds really interesting. And I've never really heard anything really like this per se. There's been some mentoring,
tried it throughout the years, but it's never really lasted a while, and I think no one's really known how to go about it because it's still kind of uncharted territory. But I think if anybody, Cardhoarder can pull it off.
I was just going to say, Cardhoarder's always sort of been on the cutting edge of this kind of stuff with the regional teams and this kind of coaching and mentoring experience, and a good set to do it, with mentor being a key word.
And Tiago's sorry.
No, you have more knowledge than I, so please keep going.
Well, Tiago's also one of the people who is really fluent in just sort of pro speak. Like anytime that there's an announcement, pro points or the threshold, people turn to him to sort of say, what does this mean? And so he's also made a name for himself as just sort of helping people understand the Pro Players Club and what it means and what these announcements mean. And so I have a lot of faith that if Tiago's behind it and if Cardhoarder's behind it, it's going to be a really good time.
Very nice. And I will note that I'm guessing maybe it's my internets that are having issues today. But we do have a few more taters than usual.
All right. Well, I will close my window just in case it's me.
Okay, just in case. Well, I'm not sure, but it's a thing that's been happening. But
because we are not tatering with each other.
Right. Well, because I'm sort of like running the stream per se.
Right.
Everyone sees what I see.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be, in delay. Everyone sees me perfectly, but you guys can have issues. But
okay.
Regardless, let's keep moving. Let's talk about some desperate Ravings. Ondrej Strasky.
Retired Magic professional, Ondrej Strasky.
Retired at what, 22?
Yeah, this is my last tournament. I'm all done here. This game's been fun. I'm going to do something else, and wins the Grand Prix. And then goes and wins the next Grand Prix that he plays in. Okay.
Yeah.
That fire's hot.
This is not horrendously uncommon in competitive card games. Mm-hmm. There was a very funny situation 2 years ago when a man named Fedor Holtz announced that he was going to be retiring from professional poker, and then proceeded to go on the sickest run ever seen in professional poker 2 summers ago. It was later surpassed by a different player this past summer, who is a friend of mine. Little brush the shoulder off there. But Fedor was made $15 million in 3 months in his retirement. And so, when you take the stress off, when you stop trying quite so hard, things like this can happen. And this is not the first time that's ever happened. Wow. It's pretty sweet to see Ondrej be able to do that.
Are we not going to talk about the other story of the weekend? That's not even in our notes.
No. We're going to, and I got to it right here, which is, it was in the list. I just didn't get it on the dock.
Oh, that's not even on the dock.
Well, that's what I was saying. I didn't get it on the dock.
Do you even know what I'm going to talk about?
Yes, and it's called Luis Salvato.
I'll Erin just do it.
Wow, fine.
Just in case.
Just in case. So Luis Salvato and Seth Manfield were both in the running for Player of the Year, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I believe that they ended up in the quarterfinals, and I think Seth lost his game. So then it came down to, am I wrong?
If Luis had made top 4, he would have won, but he also lost in the semis.
Okay, so now they have to play each other, and the format hasn't even been decided yet. It's a dramatic playoff, and it's like, oh.
I want heads up, unstable Rochester.
Look, to give you an idea of how long it's been since we've done this, and this happened.
Has this been done before?
Yes.
It's been done before, and Evan had quite the promotional tool.
Oh, yeah.
When it happened.
Guillaume Matignon and Brad Nelson came together in Paris to play.
Wait a minute. You can say Guillaume Matignon, but you can't say Edward Sajalik?
Yeah, because here's the thing. The French names are easier for Southern people because they can say it with a Cajun accent. Guillaume Matignon.
Guillaume Matignon.
Rendezvous, si vous plaît. Allez-vous coucher, allez-moi.
Well, listen, if you want to go ahead and date how long it's been, the promotion was built around some stickers where we had you choosing either Team Brad or Team Guillaume, and this was based around Twilight.
Yeah. One of them was a vampire and one of them was a werewolf.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep, that was the thing.
That was great. That was really good. I had those stickers on a box. I had this tackle box where I kept all my Magic cards, and I had both those stickers on that box for the longest time. I remember that. That was well before I was anywhere near doing podcasts.
Oh yeah, for sure. This was
going to be really exciting.
Yeah, this was like 2011, 2012.
I'm really excited for what interesting, creative things that they can do for this thing. Because it's going to be weird. It's going to be a one-on-one format, so there'll be something constructed.
Right.
But they probably have to do something limited, right?
They did something limited with Guillaume and Brad as well. Some kind of super weird sealed format or something.
I want to see them have identical sealed pools or be like, just the most bizarre format.
I want to see them in those inflatable sumo outfits and just...
Also works.
Yeah.
That's Brawl. That format is called Brawl.
Nice. Well, look, Wizards, you have an opportunity here. You now officially have consultants that you're consulting with from the pro community. Let's not screw this one up. We have a great opportunity to make something really exciting and to make it about the players. Can we make it about the players, please? In
yes.
That set? Thank you.
That one would. I mean, if they don't make that one about the players, then they can't be helped.
There's a lot of things that make me sad, but I hope springs eternal, and you have another opportunity. Let's kill it. I also know, I'm pretty sure I pissed off the people who ran that convention center because people kept sticking them like all over the walls and poles and chairs and tables, and it was like, oh god, you can't have nice things. This is why you can't have nice things, because they plastered them all over the bathroom or whatever.
Right.
So that was a thing, but it should be really, really exciting. MTG Worlds is coming up. Did anybody know that?
I have to bring up the Epic Shade in the chat right now. People have been kind of coming up with possible formats for those two. Mm-hmm. And someone said they'll probably call in Hearthstone players to be drafted by the two pros.
Love it. That's awesome.
They're going to give them $12,500. Okay, guys, that's what they're going to give them to show up and draft them, and then they'll play out through. It'd be great. Oh my god. So Worlds is happening. I'm not.
Is it?
Is it? I've heard more. Let's put it this way. I've heard more problems about that event than I've actually seen press about that event.
Oh yeah. My god. No internet.
There's been more bad press and viral press than actual press.
No internet. Partners couldn't come. Like +1s couldn't go. It's just
that has been changed. I have it on good authority that partners can now come in and be not a part of, but at least be on the rail for the show.
Good.
Excellent. And that's great. And for what it's worth, I complained about that big time the other day. So kudos, Wizards. You fixed that. Thank you very much. You did a good job. Well, you didn't do a good job, but you did a good job fixing it, and I'll give you that. I'm still going to hit you a little bit for the start, but I'll give you the fix. You did a good job there.
Right. So to tell our audience, to make sure that at least our 200 or so people that are watching us live tune in, the World Championship event of Magic the Gathering is tomorrow, ?
I don't know. Is it
Friday?
I think it's Friday.
I think it's Friday. Check your twitch.tv/magic schedule for the nearest whatever near you.
Yeah, the nearest whatever. Got it. Well,
that's how good of a job that they did. Is it us, our people? Our job is to know it, and I don't even know it.
I want to know it. I want to know all the things about the players. I want it to be about the players even. I mean, that's how wild and crazy I am.
Yeah, the tournament, by the way, is in my former hometown of Las Vegas, Nevada, Sin City, the city that never sleeps. I don't have another nickname.
There's no more. You ran out. We're all good.
It's great. They're staying at the Palms Hotel, Casino, and recently renovated fancy place where they did not have internet. So perhaps they need to do a little bit more renovating before that happens, because Seth Manfield was complaining about that over Twitter. How he got to tweet it, I don't know, because he didn't have internet. Yeah. But somehow smoke signals escaped their way from the player hotel. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to all of these people who are some of the best players in the world bashing heads and entering gladiatorial combat. But unfortunately, I don't know where to find it.
Oh, man. Well, look, it's been a minute, but it's time to go back to the red zone.
Wait, are we not fantasy drafting?
Oh, we need to fantasy draft first. Okay, but we will have a red zone, and I think you guys will like it. We do have a red zone.
You have that to look forward to, everyone.
Fighting.
Yes, but first we need to draft for the 2018 World Championship. Remember, it's happening? Okay. All right.
Evan forgot right in the middle of the segment.
I know, right? So I clicked begin draft now. I have an option for the different players here. I have the ELO for them. This is from fantasypt.com.
Now we're picking 6 each?
We're picking 6 each. We don't want to pick, well, I don't, there's 18, right?
I think there's 24.
There's 16. Is it 24?
No, there's 24.
Oh, good. I was like, oh my God, there's not enough players.
There's 24.
All right, so we can take a look at picking our 6 here, and we'll see how we do. Now, the way that this is set up, it's not snake drafting. We could both pick Seth Manfield. We could all pick Brad or whatever. But the way we're going to work it, we're going to make sure we have unique lists.
So we have unique lists. Got it.
So I can't pick Reed 6 times?
Can't pick Reed 6 times.
Okay.
Still couldn't pick someone twice, but that's fine too.
Okay.
Right. All right. So let's do a random number generator from 1 to 100.
Great.
And give me a number, Reuben.
50.
Give me a number, Erin.
72.
The number was 47. So I will go last. Reuben, you can go first, and Erin, you can go second. Reuben, who's your first pick?
I mean, I'm going to first pick Owen Turnwald because that's what you do in these events. I think that he crushes every single small format event that he's ever entered. My first pick's Owen Turnwald.
Can we throw some shade that there's not the last year's winner included in this event?
Yeah, that's a little awkward that we've got Owen and we've got Reed, but we don't have the third member, last year's defending champion, William Huey Benson, who is a tempting pick regardless of the fact that he's not even available.
I know, right? Wish I could pick him anyway.
I know.
Erin, what's your pick?
Well, as a wise woman once said, no, my first name ain't baby. It's Janet. Miss Jackson, if you're nasty. Nasty! I want Matt Nass.
Nice.
Wow. Okay.
Feeling nasty tonight.
Well, I'm feeling defaulty, so I'm just gonna go ahead and slam Seth Manfield and Reed Duke.
Sure.
Did you hear that default is the new insult that the kids are using now based on Fortnite? Did you hear that?
I've heard
It's the new
that.
way of saying that someone's basic. You're like, oh, she default. Like default is a thing now.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Evan's pick was default, is what that was.
Wow. Well, Erin, that means it comes back to you. Who would you like to choose for your number 2?
I need a little flavor in my list. I need a little sabor. You know what I'm saying? I want some Javier Dominguez. Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
What were your picks, Evan?
Seth Manfield and Reed Duke.
Seth Manfield and Reed Duke.
see
All right.
you.
I'm just making sure that I don't overlap here.
Oh, I'm overlapping.
I don't want to overlap. All right. My next picks, I'm going to go with Ben Stark,
Okay.
and I'm going to go with Marcio Carvalho.
Ooh, she went there.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's in the tournament and he's available to be picked. I'm going to pick him because he has a very good shot of winning.
There you go.
All right. Erin, who you got?
You know, we were talking about being default earlier. I want the opposite of default. If default is basic, then I want to be Gucci. I want the Gooch. I want Andrea Mengucci.
Nice.
Nice.
Very nice.
He tweeted that he thought he was going to go O and X in this tournament, which means
sleeping like a little baby. He was so exhausted from the flight here that someone took a picture of him falling asleep next to his laptop. Like,
oh, that's adorable.
The little sleepy drafts. These little sleepy drafts. All right. Well, I'm pretty sure this is based on the tweet I recall from Seth Manfield that this player has won 66% of all worlds they've played in, and that would be Shahar Shinhar.
That's a decent pick. I like that one.
And I will also pick Mr. Martin Juza, who is just a damn fine Magic player, and any given Sunday, I think he has the ability to do it. So, Erin, that brings us to your number 5 pick.
Well, since you took Reed Duke, I just want you to know that I officially don't recognize you.
You had a chance.
You're not,
I
you're
went
not
last.
You're not my Mr. Orange anymore. I want a real Mr. Orange. A good Mr. Orange. I want Gregory Orange.
Nice.
Very nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Show me.
Yeah, exactly. Somehow Luis Salvato's still on the list, guys. So I'll take Mr. Luis Salvato with my next pick.
Okay. And then your last pick?
Well, there are 2 Brad Nelsons remaining.
No, there's only one. Oh, you're right. You're right. Two. Yeah.
There's 2 Brad Nelsons remaining.
Yeah, and Sigrist, yes.
Yeah, so I think I'm actually going to take Mike Sigrist as my next pick.
Wow. Okay. So, Erin, this will be your final pick?
Doing it well. Brian Brown doing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good. That means I get my final 2 here, which I think my final 2 here is going to be Ken Yukihiro and Ben Stark.
I took Ben Stark.
I did not take Ben Stark. I'm taking someone else. Okay, it's fine. Gonna run out. You know what? Just gonna run out one for Mr. Jerry Thompson.
Yep.
When Jerry's on a streak, when Jerry gets on that run, like he can get pretty unstoppable, and he's won a Pro Tour. Made plenty of top 8s. Damn fine player. I hope he does well. So my final list is Seth Manfield, Reed Duke, Ken Yukihiro, Jerry Thompson, Shahar Shinhar, and Martin Juza. Reuben, what's your list?
Well, I still have a pick left.
Oh, you do have a pick left. Oh, because you guys get to sneak back one more. Okay, I'm sorry.
Because Erin has one too, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So Erin, this will be your final pick.
Okay, so I'm gonna rep for the Wisconsin, for the Cheeseheads. We're gonna go with Matt Severa.
Nice.
Yeah, so bring one home for us.
All right.
Packer fans.
I'll take the other Brad Nelson then. I'll take Brad Nelson.
The Brad Nelson's Brad Nelson.
Yeah, he's won one of these before, so I'm happy to take him.
So Erin, what's your final 6?
So my final 6 is going to be, I hit the button, it's not coming up. Okay. Gregory Orange, the real Mr. Orange, Evan. Andrea Mengucci, Matt Nass, Matt Severa, Brian Brown-Zuin, and Javier Dominguez.
Very nice. Reuben?
My list ended up being, in order, Owen Turtenwald, Ben Stark, Marcio Carvalho, Luis Salvato, Mike Sigrist, and Brad Nelson.
Very nice. Well, I have submitted my team. Got the roster in there. We'll see how they do for all of us as we move into the weekend, and we'll report back next week.
Awesome.
So,
good luck to all the players. This is like a really fun event, and again, we only joke because we love. We want these events to be super popular, super watched, and once a year kind of ritual Super Bowl style events. And it's really sad when that we don't get that on Twitch.
Yeah.
It's weird to me because, again, I see the money, the time, the effort that they're putting into Guilds of Ravnica marketing, but this World Championship thing is just like, well, it's just like whatever. It just feels like left hand, right hand. The left hand is getting all the love and all the money and all the support and all the attention because it's the new set, all the support and love for Arena. It's the hot new thing that Hasbro's really excited about because that Hearthstone money. And then it's like, well, Worlds, I mean, oh, you forgot to tell us that your fiance's coming or whatever. Nah, make them stay in the hotel. You're like, that's your default. That's your default? I mean, seriously? Okay. Anyway, but yes, we criticize because we want it to be as good as it can be. I love Magic. I want it to do good things. That's why we're here.
Yeah. Get in the red zone. We got a bone to pick with you.
Yeah, let's over the red zone. Oh my God. Woo! All right. So over the past weekend, there showed up a really interesting shirt.
Well, 10 interesting shirts, but one of them more interesting than the rest.
And pins. They were pins, I believe.
Okay. Pins are sweet. I love pins. Well, over here on the MTG Pro Shop from Legion is a safe word shirt. It has the word safe word on it with the Rakdos symbol inside the O. And this is awkward. This is, to be clear, no kink shame. Okay? We're not kink shaming here.
Sounds like you're kink shaming.
Whatever you want to do between
Sounds to me like you're kink shaming.
Two consenting adults, you go nuts. I don't care.
No, listen, you can have.
No.
Why are we?
Hold on. Wants to go nuts.
You could be a throuple. You can have 3. You could be.
There is no.
2.
This word originated from the BDSM community. So I just don't see it. For what it's worth, for me, there is no explanation that says this did not come from the BDSM community. If safe words are about, the words that you say when people have gone too far, or you're not having a good time, or you're not uncomfortable, or you're very uncomfortable, or whatever, to stop what's going on and to do something else. And again, no kink shame. Don't care. Point is, it does provide a connotation. It does attach itself from one culture to another culture. And not all cultural links are good for the game, I feel. And this is one of those that, again, while it's like Earth in Hitchhiker's Guide, it's mostly harmless. It is a thing that would bring unnecessary controversy that isn't worth the risk of having this one shirt with this one Rakdos symbol. And wouldn't the Rakdos be into BDSM? Yeah, sure, whatever. But do we really have to explain it? Do we really want this to be part of, they're trying to get as much magic as they can inside schools. They're trying to make sure the friendly local game store is family friendly. And I'm just telling you, from the heartland, from the more conservative of the world, this is not a cool thing that provides a bonus, a benefit to Magic. That's what I got.
Do you want to go first, Erin?
I can. I mean, so here's my take on the thing. Our friend Arthur Halavis is a level 2 judge, and he wrote a really great thread about this. And so I'm mostly gonna derive my arguments or my thoughts from his thread, because I thought he hit on some really good points. So to kind of tackle your first point, Evan, safe word does have uses in non-sexual situations or non-BDSM situations. It's sometimes used with children, specifically children with ADHD, specifically children when they're roughhousing. It can be used in therapy situations. It doesn't necessarily have to be used in just that situation. So there is a more general use for it.
I'm glad for that, for what it's worth.
Yeah, though it's lesser known. You are right, and I think it's more widely known as being something more intimate. In terms of sort of the think of the children aspect. So if your child asks you what it means, you can simply tell them. You can say if you're playing with somebody and they want you to stop and they want to make sure you understand that, that you're being serious, you can use a safe word. There are ways to explain things to children that don't necessarily have to you don't necessarily have to pull out a copy of 50 Shades and explain what a safe word is. There are generic ways to explain things, to children. And so that there's a way that you can sort of tackle that if you want to. If it makes people feel uncomfortable, that's certainly one thing. But I think ultimately a safe word is the embodiment of consent culture, which is something that we as a culture are really, really struggling with right now. When it comes to children, when it comes to adults, when it comes to women. And so I think, promoting a culture of consent, particularly in a game that might struggle with, attracting a female audience or just attracting a different audience, is ultimately not a bad thing. And so I don't think it's a terrible thing. And I really liked a lot of Arthur's points here. I don't think it's the end of the world.
No, yeah. I'm not saying that's the end of the world either, but go ahead, Rue.
I will say, well, first of all, you're wrong and I hate you. We have to get that out of the way.
Good.
Again, look, I understand that you are a conservative person, as in like you're dressed up and laced up tight, and you don't want to have you need to get your swooning fan when the word safe word appears. But and that's fine, and I get that, but you're wrong and I hate you. I just think that it's, even if it didn't have other connotations, even if this was the only connotation, which, let's be clear, they are going for that connotation with this, tongue-in-cheek joke.
Right.
They're going for the BDSM culture joke here. It's still a joke. Jokes are fine. In today's culture, as Hannah Gatsby said, well, what are jokes anymore? No. But this one is. Did I go straight tater?
Yeah. What did you just say?
I said that, as Hannah Gatsby said in the Emmys a couple nights ago, what even are jokes anymore? But I think that this one's pretty harmless. This one is, you use the word kink and the word and the initials BDSM in describing it. So it's not like it's automatically a bad thing. And if you need to explain, like, what am I going to do if I see this shirt in public and have to explain it to my kids kind of thing? Well, you can either play it with the other explanation as Erin gave, or you can just be like, oh, I'll tell you when you're older. It's not like they're shoving it in your face. It's not like you're being given no choice. It's not like this is much less offensive than an anime playmat. This is significantly less offensive than a curse word appearing on a shirt. It'd be one thing if a different word that was actually much more offensive appeared on a different shirt. But I think that, if you have safe word as the Rakdos word, I think that's fine. I think you can have options as the Simic word, and that's kind of funny. There are lots of other sort of blurring the line words that you could put onto T-shirts that have the guild symbols that I don't particularly mind. That's just my view on it. Now, I'm not a parent, #no kids, so maybe that's where my perspective is coming from.
Cal brought up a really interesting angle that I want to kind of touch on, is sort of the interesting dichotomy between violence and sexuality, where, there are so many cards in the game that, you have murderous intent, which is someone thrusting a knife in someone's gut.
Yeah.
You have these other really grisly images that the Rakdos in general might even be known for. The gore chain one of the guy walking across a chain with a pig's head dripping blood. Yeah. It's like, we are fine showing our children those images and being like, sure, sweetie, go play a Rakdos deck, go have fun. But, we take issue with something that might be vaguely adult. So we're fine with blood, gore, and violence, but something that might be a little risque, is seen as bad. And so
this is a problem with Western culture in general, the Western European and American style culture of our curse words all have sexual connotations to them. Every other culture's curse words are curse words based around violence. The words for things like murder or killing, and they're much more aggressive terms in other cultures than the sex words. And so it's a problem. It's a sort of a side effect of our culture.
Well, all right. So allow me to rebuttal a little bit. What I would note is that, again, at the end of the day, this isn't going to destroy anything or wreck anything. However, what I would say is that there's a certain cost. There is a cost to the joke. And I get that it's a joke. And I think we all understand that it's a BDSM joke, and I get that as well. There is a cost to associating your game with that culture. Good or
Sure.
bad, whether you like it or not, I'm just saying that exists. And is that cost worth it? I don't think it is, because it's words on a shirt. So just change it to something else and go nuts.
I'll tell you what, this shirt's going to sell more copies than the rest of them.
Sure.
There's a reason why Nike signed Colin Kaepernick. They thought that it was worth the risk, whatever that risk is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not exactly the same. It's not apples to oranges, or it's apples to oranges, but it's this has to be a decision that wasn't come to lightly, right? Like, this wasn't just accidentally sent out the door. Lots of people have to see this decision.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know exactly how the approvals process works.
They also sent Shroom out the door.
Yeah, but at least they have like pictures of mushrooms all over Golgari cards. That makes some sense. That makes some sense in the game world.
We're talking about, Evan.
I mean, okay. The point is, I seriously doubt this came from MTG brand. I absolutely doubt that happened. Maybe it was designed and it went through a process and they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. But like, I don't feel like this came from the same, group that is actively working to make sure that there's gender equality and make sure that there's, you can have hot guys and awesome kick-ass girls on cards. I just don't think that
it's the same group of people
went into this shirt. That's kind of where I'm at.
All right.
So again, feel free to agree or disagree. I just felt like
let us know what you think on social media, if you agree or disagree, because this is one typically by the end of the red zone we're like, all right, cool. I just don't see it, man. I just don't get it.
Right, and I get your argument, and I don't think that this is awful. I just don't think this is preferable. I think
I
would rather have the word riot personally. I think that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. I also appreciate, Evan, the criticism that you had was valid without being insulting. Like,
agreed.
On social media, there were a lot of people that were taking very cringy takes of like, only a virgin would buy this shirt or something. And I was like, really? Like, I'm glad that you kept it to very, there were just some very awful takes on this,
your argument is the most cogent and well thought out one that I have heard or seen, which is why I like having a show with you. Yeah. But you're still wrong, and I hate you.
We got to keep it real, y'all. Yeah. We got to keep it real. All right. So a few quick splash damages here. A somewhat hilarious article on GameSpot.com complaining about Pokemon being too expensive.
Wasn't that adorable?
You sweet summer child.
You adorable little man. Can we show you the legacy format, please? Can I show you what graded cards look like?
I guess it's different when you make your money from doing chores. When your sole income is mowing lawns or doing dishes, I get how it can seem expensive. So they're not.
But Evan and Erin, in the Masters division, the most expensive Zoroark Gabodor deck would cost you a whopping $305 to build. Who has that kind of money?
I mean, again, not to laugh at the author, just the kind of the absurdity of like, this is the craziest, market expense I've ever seen. It's like, man, you have it so good.
Nearly every competitive deck contains the meta staple Tapu Lele GX. It currently will cost you $38 for only one copy.
Jesus.
The horror.
Who even has $38? Oh. Not I.
What's $1? I don't know what dollars look like. Well, either way, that was really cute. To something really strange, which is Fortnite has now been cited in more than 200 divorce proceedings.
Yeah.
And as I understand that's just in the UK and only in 2018. We got 3 full months to go, and that's just the UK. Can only imagine how many, in the US it's been cited, like ending marriages. Okay, sure. Well, what can Fortnite not do at this point?
First of all, I hate that there's 3 months left in 2018. I didn't even realize that till you just said it. Mm-hmm. This is not great. I got some work to do before the year ends. But also, Fortnite is just this cultural phenomenon on a scale the likes of which we really haven't ever seen before. Like, at this point, does it have a bigger crater than League of Legends at this point in its life cycle?
It might. I mean, at this point, there was a huge ESPN article about Ninja. And
Ninja was the cover athlete of ESPN magazine most recently.
Wow.
What a world.
I mean, and first of all, and that's great for him. That's fantastic, and I love it. He's a great guy. Clearly, works super duper hard. Has an insane amount of fame on him, just almost instantaneously. I mean, I remember watching him like make his Twitter account, and now he's got 18 million followers or something ridiculous. The boy's just blowing up, and Fortnite makes an ungodly amount of money. And
I'm really excited for Matthew Folks to be the big Artifact pro and get 1 million followers. I'm really excited for it.
Wow.
That's what's going to happen.
Jeez.
It happened with a different Magic Pro when Hearthstone happened.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to call shenanigans a little bit here. Like I'm curious to know if somebody mentioned this in the comments of the Fortnite article, actually, of whether or not it was Fortnite specifically that killed it, or would it really have been? I'm of the mindset that if you're nerdy or if you're geeky, geeks really do better with other geeks. And I don't mean that you necessarily have to geek the same things, or even that you have to geek things. Like maybe your geek thing can be you geek out on knitting, or you geek out on reading or something. Yeah. But you just have to date somebody who's passionate about something. And I've certainly been in relationships with people who didn't have a passion, or who didn't really have a hobby, and there was some static there, and it didn't really have anything to do with the specific things that I geeked out over, but there was just a big difference there where they didn't have anything that they cared about as much as I cared about my things. And so, I would be curious if these marriages would have still ended up the same way. Would it have been a different vice, or would it have been a different game that these people were enjoying, and the other partner just couldn't relate? There was a barrier there. And so
potentially.
And so I'm really curious if it was really Fortnite, or if there would have been some other game that would have come along. It would have been Artifact. It would have been Eternal.
Oh, I fully believe it is a whatever caused it was going to happen regardless, whether it was Fortnite, whether it was Artifact, whether it was whatever. Yeah. It's like, if the relationship can't stand you playing a battle royale game, it's not going to stand you going out and playing bingo. It speaks to the ubiquity.
I mean, it was going to be something, but it was Fortnite.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, and my kids play it. I mean, they love it, and they play it all the time. And
do your kids do the floss dance?
They probably can.
What?
They probably
the floss dance.
What's the floss dance?
Your finisher last week was about the floss dance. When you're doing this thing.
Yeah, I'm sure my kids can.
Whoa. Okay.
Nobody. Look up the floss dance online.
I've seen it.
You've almost certainly seen it.
Well, I mean, and again, they play cross-platform, so they can play with their cousins or whatever across the country and yada yada. It's like that's a thing you can do. It's I can imagine PUBG is very. I guess jealous is a word.
Very and shout out to Karpsma, who is on his way to being cancer-free.
Nice.
We see you. We're so glad that you're here, and keep on fighting.
Yay, that's terrific. All right. So thanks much for all the support as usual. But let's turn the corner to the finisher. Today, the trailer for the MTG Arena dropped, and with it came Magic's most iconic commercial since Bob from Accounting. It would have been enough for it to star a notable internet celebrity and host of Spellslingers Day 9, but it also featured La Tortuga himself, Danny Trejo.
Not a Breaking Bad fan, Evan?
I didn't remember that name. So now,
all right.
He's more Machete to me. So now that we know the movie star and the owner of Trejo's Tacos is also a big Magic buff, what cards other than Mr. Trejo's signature turn 3 Gigantosaurus are you thinking you'd like for him to sign when he's slinging spells at the next Magic Grand Prix, Erin?
Well, obviously, the top card of the list has to be Trusty Machete, because Machete don't text, but thanks to the card being an artifact, Machete improvises.
Wow. Very nice. Very nice. Reuben?
For me, the card I'm looking forward to him signing is a callback to his role as Razor Charlie in the 1996 Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez cult in more ways than one classic, From Dusk Till Dawn. Cheap drinks, loud music, Selma Hayek. Sounds like my kind of F&M.
Oh, baby. Well, look. Everyone's giving credit to the Gigantosaurus coming out in turn 3, but the real workhorse of Danny's was his turn 1 Llanowar Elves and turn 2 Grow from the Ashes, because much like most of Danny's career, the real all-stars are the powerhouses and the supporting cast.
That's great.
Very nice, very nice. Well, that ends another live episode of Magic Mics. Thank you for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Erin.
Thank you for having me, and thank you to everybody in chat. You guys were lovely tonight.
You guys were fantastic. Thank you, Reuben.
Good night. Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah, move here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsor, Cardhoarder.com, my co-host, Erin Campbell and Reuben Bressler, you guys for watching and listening, and hope you support us at patreon.com/magicmics. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv at Magic Mics, our Twitter at Magic Mics Cast, our Magic Mics subreddit, and like the Magic Mics page on Facebook. Talk to us privately at magicmicspodcast@gmail.com. Follow the audio-only podcast at magicmicspodcast.libsyn.com, or find us on iTunes, or join us here next week, same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mics. Good night, everybody.